At number 10, The Weeknd and the Grammys. The Grammys are one of the most prestigious awards in the music industry. Pretty much every artist dreams of one day receiving one, and they probably don't want to put their chances of receiving one in jeopardy. One artist, however, isn't interested in being on the Grammys' good side and would rather fight them than be friends. Singer The Weeknd announced that he would be boycotting the Grammys for the foreseeable future due to the unfairness of the awards. It is alleged that there are secret committees within the Academy who decide who gets nominated and who wins awards, and this has been the subject of the feud between The Weeknd and the Grammys. These allegations stem from the revelations made by former chief executive Deborah Duggan, who filed a 44-page complaint about the Grammys where she cited, quote, "The Grammys voting process is ripe with corruption. Members of the board of trustees and the secret committees choose artists with whom they have personal or business relationships," end quote. After his 2020 song Blinding Lights was snubbed of any nominations, The Weeknd blamed the alleged corruption for his snub, and he and the Academy have been in a war of words, so to speak, ever since. Other than the allegations of corruption within the Academy, The Weeknd also alleges that he was locked out of Grammy nominations because he decided to perform at the Super Bowl. Because of this music conspiracy, the singer released a statement in March of this year that read, quote, "Because of the secret committees, I will no longer allow my label to submit my music to the Grammys," end quote. At number 9, James Charles and Asian Doll. It's a little embarrassing for celebrities to get dragged online for something as petty as a Twitter feud. Like, imagine trying to clap back at someone just for them to clap back even harder, leaving the internet laughing at you. This is pretty much what happened between James Charles and rapper Asian Doll. It all started when the rapper tweeted out about makeup artist prices, where she said, quote, "If you charge over $150 to do a face of makeup, then you can go to hell respectively." James saw this tweet and it frustrated him a bit, to the point where he felt the need to respond, saying, quote, "What a stupid tweet. One foundation can cost $50, artists have to buy every shade for their kit, and that's just the first step. It's expensive to work as a makeup artist. Either pay an artist rate for their time and skill, or do it yourself, or get it done at a counter and risk looking busted," end quote. Asian Doll saw his reply and basically clapped back with a "nobody asked you" sort of message, where she basically made a dig at his flashback Mary look. The rapper tweeted saying, quote, "What a dumbass to be in my business replying to something that has absolutely nothing to do with you. I'm having a debate about hood prices, baby. Stay over there in Hollywood where they have you looking like a ghost," end quote. This little Twitter feud had fans laughing and memeing the whole situation, and criticized James for even jumping into the conversation in the first place. Now, before carrying on with the list, I'd like to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also check out my gaming channel, Viper Girl, and hit that subscribe button while you're there. At number 8, Meghan Markle and Kate Middleton. After their bombshell Oprah interview, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have been scrutinized for a lot of what they spoke about. One of the biggest things people are talking about in regards to their interview is their relationship with the rest of their family. According to sources, the most strained relationships are those between Meghan Markle and Kate Middleton, as well as Prince Harry and his brother William. Meghan and Kate have reportedly been on poor terms for a long time, with some sources saying that they haven't spoken to each other in over a year. During the interview, Meghan addressed the public's view on her feud with Kate over Princess Charlotte's dress at Meghan's wedding, saying that Kate made her cry over it. Though they eventually patched things up and Kate apologized, they haven't been on speaking terms, not because of anything personal, but because of the feud between their husbands. There doesn't seem to be a lot of hate between Meg and Kate, but there seems to be a lot of tension since their partners aren't on good terms with each other. A source explained Meghan and Kate's situation in a statement, saying, quote, "There is real animosity that the brothers have towards one another, and that has spilled over to Meghan and Kate's relationship, making it very hard for them to be friends or even friendly," end quote. Hopefully they can one day patch things up for the sake of being rid of this negative energy. At number 7, Addison Rae and Bryce Hall. Two of TikTok's biggest stars and former power couple Addison Rae and Bryce Hall have been feuding with each other ever since their messy breakup just a few weeks ago. In March of this year, there were reports that the couple had split up for the second time after their relationship was bombarded with cheating rumors and scandals. These rumors first came about during a Zoom call with some of her fans, where Addison revealed that she and Bryce had been fighting, and so these rumors got off the ground and started circulating. Shortly after that, Addison made a cryptic Instagram post about how she wanted to keep some of the things she's dealing with away from the public eye. There was some speculation that this had something to do with Bryce, and this theory was embraced by more followers as they started to notice that some of Bryce and Addison's couple pictures had been removed from social media. Later, their breakup was finally addressed with a simple confirmation of their split. We don't know why they broke up or if the cheating rumors are true, but they are on and off again, so their feuding and fighting may only last a short amount of time, but we shall see. At number 6, Tana Mongeau and Cole Kerrigan. Influencers Tana Mongeau and Cole Kerrigan have been caught in a feud after Cole alleged that Tana hacked his social media accounts and tried to sue him for $100,000. It all started when Cole put Tana on blast by sharing a screenshot of a cease and desist text allegedly sent by Tana's lawyer. The text essentially warned Cole that he was in violation of a contract he had signed with Tana and that a breach of contract would subject him to pay $100,000. The contract, it is alleged that Tana has her circle of friends sign a non-disclosure agreement each year, and so now Cole is in trouble after one of his social media posts violated the terms of said contract. Now on top of this lawsuit, Cole also claims that Tana hired someone to hack his social media accounts, where they were able to delete a number of accounts like his YouTube channel and Twitter account. Cole claims that all of this drama is because he is one of the only people that Tana knows who isn't afraid to speak out about her. Cole has also claimed that Tana has kicked him out of her house, used him for free makeup services, and would even go through his personal belongings when he wasn't home. There haven't been many updates on this feud, but I'm sure that this is far from over. At number 5, Bad Baby and Dr. Phil. If you're a fan of the show Dr. Phil, then you may be familiar with Danielle Bregoli, aka the Cash Me Outside girl. Danielle, now known as rapper Bad Baby, was on the show because her mother was struggling to help her with her behavioral issues. As a result of her time on the show, Dr. Phil referred Danielle to a reform camp of sorts called Turnabout Ranch. The ranch is supposed to be a teen residential facility where they rehabilitate troubled teens. Well, recently Danielle came out to talk about her experiences at the ranch, recounting the abuse that she endured there and calling Dr. Phil out on recommending such a horrific place. The rapper claimed that she was apprehended by workers in the middle of the night, taken from her home and transported to the ranch where she was forced to stay awake for 3 days. She also spoke out about the facility's use of restraints on teens in attendance and how many other attendees cited many instances of abuse while at the ranch. Danielle spoke out about her experiences in her YouTube video, and she spoke directly to Dr. Phil, condemning his support for such a place and warned him that if he doesn't take accountability, that she would, quote, handle things her way. As of right now, Dr. Phil has yet to comment on the situation, but I'm sure that Danielle is planning her fight for justice. At number 4, Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo. One of the hottest songs out there right now is Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo, and though it is seen as the breakup anthem of 2021, it's also got a huge backstory and a huge feud surrounding it. Essentially, Olivia wrote Driver's License after her breakup with her High School Musical, the series co-star Joshua Bassett. Apparently, this was a very messy breakup that turned into a very messy love triangle after actress Sabrina Carpenter was brought into the mix and started dating Joshua. Are you following? Okay, so Olivia releases a song with a few nods to Joshua's new relationship with Sabrina. Next, in response to Olivia's song, Joshua releases a few songs of his own, including one called Lie Lie Lie. And then, Sabrina released a song of her own that included references to Olivia, as the song was about getting into a new relationship while an ex watches on. Now, no one is saying anything directly, and it is a very read between the lines kind of situation, but it's still very messy and fans are obsessed. It could all be for PR or maybe not, but it is certainly a very juicy story. At number 3, Prince Harry and Prince William. One of the biggest feuds on this list is one that I briefly mentioned before. Prince Harry and Prince William have been feuding for years, but with his exit from the royal family as well as his bombshell interview with Oprah, things may have gotten even more tense. The brothers have always had a strained relationship even when growing up. It is said that William adopted a more serious attitude, being the one destined for the throne, and Harry was more laid back and carefree. These two personalities apparently clashed a lot growing up and remains difficult to this day. Now, with the added strain on the family following Harry and Meghan's interview, William is reportedly furious with his brother. According to sources, William is struggling to hold back his side of the story, as the Queen has said that they would be handling the situation privately. Sources say that William is looking to defend his wife Kate, as well as clear up any rumors surrounding racial allegations within the family. Harry and William haven't spoken in a long time according to sources, and I don't really think they will be anytime soon. At number 2, Sharon Osbourne and Cheryl Underwood. After becoming friends on The View, Sharon Osbourne and Cheryl Underwood are now feuding with each other after they got into a very heated argument surrounding Piers Morgan's remarks about Meghan Markle. Sharon backed up Piers' comments about Meghan Markle's mental health, and this frustrated Cheryl. The two got into a very heated debate that ended with Sharon in tears, but this also sparked a conversation about Sharon's ideals. She was called a racist, and a number of other accusations came out about how she has used various slurs in the past when talking talking about her other co-hosts. As a result of this, Sharon was fired from the show and an internal investigation was launched. Cheryl said that she and Sharon were good friends, but because of this feud, they haven't spoken to each other. Sharon said that she tried sending Cheryl an apology text, but it went unanswered. We don't know if they'll make up, but it might be too soon to tell. And finally, at number 1, Conor McGregor and Jake Paul. Now I'm gonna keep this one short and sweet because there is just so much pettiness and I can't handle it. Basically, there is a one-sided feud between Conor McGregor and Jake Paul. Jake wants to fight Conor, and Conor's like, meh. Jake has been seen all over social media antagonizing, posting videos, and calling him names, and even bribing the guy with a $50 million check. Really, it's very childish, playground type drama that no one besides Jake really has the time for. After all his antagonizing, nothing really ever came of it. Conor hasn't fought Jake and probably never will because of how annoying he is. Sorry to all the Jake Paul fans, but you kinda have to admit he's gone a little too far with this one, right?
Number 10. Taylor Swift versus Kanye West. That's right, these two are in a feud, and apparently it's lasted for quite some time. In 2009, Kanye interrupted Swift during MTV's Music Video Awards as she was in the middle of an accepted speech for Best Female Music Video. While there was no altercation that took place on camera, over the next few months, the feud had become public, with Swift bashing Kanye's rude behavior during time specifically set aside for her. Kanye later apologized, and things seemed to be fine until 2015 when the rapper released a song called Famous, in which he said the line, where I'm paraphrasing of course, "I feel like me and Taylor may still make love. Why? I made that be famous." Swift was very vocal about her dislike for the song and claimed that it was written to undermine her success. A few months later, Swift also put Kanye's wife Kim Kardashian on blast after the influencer had publicly approved of the song's lyrics. Joke's on them though, as they have just made enemies with a woman who fuels her soul with hatred. I wonder what she's gonna be cooking up for us right now. Number 9. Cardi B versus Aja Davies. In 2017, rapper Cardi B and model Aja Davies appeared on an episode of VH1's Love and Hip Hop talk show. Things became heated very quickly when the topic of Aja's ex-boyfriend Swift came up. According to Davies, she was convinced that Cardi B and Swift were intimate together while she was still dating Swift. Cardi responded to the accusation by throwing her stiletto at Aja's face. She then jumped up and began making her way towards the model, but was stopped by 2 large security guards. Good thing too, considering on the other side of the room, Aja had done the same thing and was also being held back. An all-out brawl almost took place, but the altercation resorted to the pair yelling at each other from across the room, with Cardi's main grievance being the judgment placed upon her by Davies for being an exotic dancer before her time as a music artist. While Davies claimed that wasn't the case, it was very clear from both their verbal and physical language that there was certainly some shade looming overhead. Number 8. Nicki Minaj versus Miley Cyrus. MTV. It's the channel that just continues to deliver us such juicy reality moments. MTV was, however, responsible for the inception of one of the greatest award shows of all time, the Video Music Awards. The ceremony celebrates the best and brightest of the music industry, but in 2015 things got a little extra juicy. Miley Cyrus, remembered fondly as Hannah Montana and remembered for riding a wrecking ball, was hosting the event that year. Rapper Nicki Minaj had just taken the stage after winning the Best Hip Hop Video Award, but quickly shifted the audience's attention from herself to the host, Miley. Minaj was calling Miley out for supposedly talking trash about her in a recent interview. She asked Miley what's good, and Miley responded. She kept her cool and explained that everyone in the industry knows that news outlets and interviewers can manipulate footage to make comments sound worse than they actually are. She then reminded the audience about her difficult to watch performance at the ceremony in 2008, and then threw an 80-foot picture up on the wall to emphasize her point. Minaj's mic was cut off, and Miley introduced the list of artists being nominated for Best Future Artist before leaving the stage. This wouldn't be the first time Nicki got into it with another celebrity though, and her feud with Miley has persisted ever since. Number 7. Hailey Bieber and Selena Gomez. Selena and Hailey share a feud. Reminds us of 2 kids in high school that just can't get along, only this time it's not just over a boy. Selena Gomez dated Canadian pop star Justin Bieber for quite some time throughout the 2010s. The relationship was rocky, and they would often split and get back together over and over again. He had been friends with Hailey Baldwin for a few years, with the relationship apparently becoming romantic at one point. While initially this was the cause of the feud between these two, more recently there seems to be a more personal reason for their hatred. A TikTok user posted a side-by-side comparison video of Hailey and Selena to show just how much Hailey had been copying Miss Gomez. There were photos of them wearing similar outfits. They They also compared the coincidence of Hailey starting a YouTube cooking series called What's in My Kitchen when Selena had just released an HBO Max cooking show called Selena Plus Chef. Gomez was quick to thank fans for acknowledging the strange copycat behavior and let the world know that she was well aware of the similarities that began to arise and she was not having any of it. Number 6. Olivia Rodrigo and Sabrina Carpenter. Olivia Rodrigo and Joshua Bassett co-starred on the Disney Plus series High School Musical, the series. God, that's a terrible title. During their time on set, they developed a relationship that apparently did not end well, and it may have something to do with one Miss Sabrina Carpenter. The Bizarre Varks alum made headlines in January 2021 after releasing her debut single, Driver's License. The hit song resonated with Rodrigo's fans, including Taylor Swift, but it also caused some to think that it was about the rumored drama between her, Bassett, and Carpenter. Her lyrics were, "And you were probably with the blonde girl who always made me doubt. She's so much older than me. She's everything I'm insecure about." The main reason people think this is a dig at Carpenter is because initially the lyrics were the brunette girl, not blonde, apparently changing it following the news of Sabrina's relationship with Bassett. Sabrina and Olivia basically started a singing roast battle. Apparently they began releasing songs around the same time as each other, including topics of like liars, cheaters, jealousy, all that jazz. It looks like this feud will be fueling quite a few hit songs in the near future. Number 5. Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj. This feud has just been full of juicy moments that we love to watch. A few years ago at a Fashion Week event in New York City, Cardi B and Nicki Minaj appeared at separate times being photographed in stunning gowns on the streets of NYC. However, when the two crossed paths inside the building, things escalated quickly. According to witnesses, Nicki purposely stepped on Cardi's dress before spouting some nasty words about Cardi's baby daughter. Hey, first rule of trashing someone who's a parent, leave the kids out of it. Cardi blew up naturally. She stumbled as she tried to run across the room, once again being held back by bodyguards. But this time, she got through. After a moment of calm, Cardi lunged at Nicki, but is quickly blocked by her own security team, who must have made contact with Cardi because photos taken of her leaving the event show a nasty bump forming on her forehead. That wasn't the end though, as Cardi then began to remove her shoes and fling it at Nicki from across the room. She's like Hawkeye with a shoe, I swear. Nicki and her team kept the shoe as Exhibit A should they ever need to open a lawsuit for the incident. No charges were ever brought to light, but these two have been in a public feud ever since. Number 4. Isaiah Washington versus the Grey's Anatomy cast. Grey's Anatomy is a TV drama centered on the personal and professional lives of 5 surgical interns and their supervisors. The show garnered a massive fan base and was on air for over 420 episodes. For 62 of those episodes, a man named Isaiah Washington portrayed the character of Dr. Preston Burke. Following his departure from the series, Isaiah took to social media to call out his cast and crew of Grey's Anatomy for creating a hostile work environment. It was revealed that apparently Isaiah himself was responsible for the so-called hostility. He had started multiple feuds with fellow cast members, including a physical altercation with Patrick Dempsey on set, using homophobic slurs against T.R. Knight, and throwing shade at Katherine Heigl for throwing shade at him for using the slur. Needless to say, this is a very one-sided feud, as the Grey's producers just simply shut the door in his face and told him to take a hike. Number 3. Kanye West and Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson was the youngest cast member on SNL when he was hired at the age of 20. In 2021, Kim Kardashian hosted an episode of the show and starred in a sketch with Pete, parodying A Whole New World from the Disney film Aladdin. The sketch was okay, but apparently sitting that close to each other all week really got them going. At the time, Kim was still involved with rapper Kanye West, who was actually attending the live show, but apparently stormed out of the room following her scene with Pete. Apparently, Kanye had been present at rehearsals all week, and he remembers regularly seeing Pete and Kim smiling and laughing together while he was being ignored entirely. Kim and Kanye began their divorce process not long after that, and simultaneously, Pete announced that him and Kim were official. Since then, Kanye has publicly bashed both his ex and Pete for their actions, and has been in a pretty big feud with him. Was little Kanye mad? Oh well, sucks to suck. Number 2, Jerry the King Lawler and Andy Kaufman. Jerry the King Lawler was a professional wrestler between the 1970s and late 80s. Andy Kaufman was a comedian and a regular star of the legendary sitcom Taxi, yet somehow their paths seemed destined to cross. On an episode of The Late Show with David Letterman in 1982, Jerry and Andy were brought on to share the stage after a feud between the two had become public. public. Kaufman wanted to make his name more popular and did so by attempting to join the World Wrestling the Entertainment Company. He eventually wiggled his way into the ring, and producers felt Lawler and Kaufman would make nice on-screen enemies. Lawler was old school and Kaufman was a wacky comedian who did not belong between the ropes. A few months before the interview took place, the two fought in a one-on-one match, and Lawler pile-drived Kaufman into a mat twice, the second of which left Kaufman limp and in need of hospital. On Letterman, Kaufman was sporting a neck brace and appeared to be in enormous amounts of pain. The interview was meant to act as a reconciler for the pair, but instead devolved into shouting, slapping, and the threatening of a lawsuit. Their feud lasted for several years until Kaufman passed away in 1984. Number 1, Will Smith versus Chris Rock. Alright, let's just get this one out of the way. In 2022, Chris Rock was hosting the 94th annual Oscar ceremony when he decided to make a little joke about Jada Pinkett Smith and her hair. Rock expressed his excitement to see Jada in a fictional G.I. Jane movie, but immediately following the joke, which landed for everyone else in the audience, Rock stood in confusion as Will Smith made his way towards the stage. Will adjusted his jacket, he took a firm stance, and then he just clocked Chris right across the face. He winded up his hand first to conjure the ultimate force. Initially being seen as a planned joke between the two, Will then began shouting several times at Rock to keep his wife's name out of his flippin' mouth. Now Chris handled the situation very well. He kept his cool, he laughed it off, and brought out the next award presenters. He was professional and quick to get the night back on track, but unfortunately an hour later Will Smith won the Oscars for Best Actor in a Leading Role. He played Richard Williams, the father of tennis superstars Venus and Serena Williams, and during his speech he gave a half-hearted apology for his actions before claiming the situation was due to his months of portraying the father on set, leaving him with an extreme paternal sense to protect his family. Unfortunately for Will, the slap was enough to get him banned from the Oscars indefinitely. Chris later took to Twitter to share his thoughts on the event, calling Will's actions unnecessary and aggressive. It would appear that getting smacked on live TV isn't something Rock can just forgive. So yeah, this is like the least surprising feud on the list. Number 10, Will Smith versus Janet Hubert. Will Smith got his big break in the acting world thanks to his successful time on the hit sitcom Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The show followed Will as the titular prince, living with his wealthy family in Bel-Air, surrounded by cousins, uncles, and of course, his Aunt Viv. In season 1, Aunt Viv was played by a woman named Janet Hubert Whitten, but as many know, she was recasted after an on-set feud with Will Smith that went a little bit too far. According to Will, Janet viewed him as the antagonist of her life. She had been in the business for years when Will just suddenly popped into her life. She held a tinge of jealousy towards Will as he just walked into her town and got the gig. That's what happens when you're good at your job, Janet. She was trying to convince the producers to give her character more screen time and allow her to breathe on camera, but they said no because it was not the Aunt Viv show. She fought back hard, but it was ultimately decided that she would be asked to sit out the rest of the series and be replaced by Daphne Maxwell Reid, who is the Aunt Viv that we all know and love. Number 9, Lady Gaga and Perez Hilton. Ra ra ooh la la. Lady Gaga has been the queen of pop music for over 15 years, delivering hit after hit over and over again. Paparazzi, Poker Face, Just Dance, so good that it got its own game for the Wii. Back in 2009, she was actually very good friends with a man named Perez Hilton. For those who forgot this man exists, I do apologize for the triggering photographs that are surely on the screen right now. Perez is a famous blogger who in the early 2000s was the man with the inside scoop, but it was because he was being friendly, learning secrets and exposing them on the internet. Apparently following the release of Lady Gaga's Born This Way, Perez was overwhelmingly negative about the project, and he actually egged her on one night while indulging in the no-no juice, trying to make her cry for a photo op. As you may guess, she decided to dump her fake friend from her life, which had a massive effect on Perez himself. Thanks to the public shame brought down on him by Gaga, and the rest of Hollywood did the same. He was slowly weaned out of the public eye, and hey, this is the first time you've heard about him in forever, so there you go. Number 8, Cardi B and Brian Zaz. This will not be Cardi's first time on this list, as she's been known to be quite temperamental. Last month, a small submarine imploded at the bottom of the ocean near the wreckage of the Titanic. Inside were 5 passengers, including the stepfather of one, Brian Zaz. Now, Brian is no one special. In fact, according to Cardi, nobody knew who he was until he told the world that his stepdaddy was on board the submarine. He did tell people in a strange way though. After the news of the sub being missing spread across the globe, Brian tweeted that he was worried for his stepdad, but that he still planned on attending the Blink-182 concert and tagged the band members. Like, they're gonna see that and go, oh, right on, little dude. He also mentioned his stepfather when tweeting a model of a website that's only for fans. Get it? Cardi B decided she needed to call this man out on his behavior. She claimed the boy was using Twitter for clout and that he should take the situation more seriously instead of partying with models and attending concerts. Well, Brian clapped back by calling her new music trash and claiming that he was using Blink-182 as a coping mechanism. Regardless of why this feud took place, Brian was forced to delete his account on Twitter and Cardi received a little bit of backlash. Oh, and oh yeah, a submarine blew up. Number 7. Katy Perry, an American Idol contestant. Recently, Katy Perry took to social media to announce that she wants to quit the successful singing competition American Idol after 6 years over fears that she is being thrown under the bus by producers who edit the show to make her seem like she's a nasty judge. Katy has faced a slew of controversy and scandal over the current season of American Idol, and it seems like it's all becoming just too much for her to bear. For those who don't know, on the recent season of American Idol, Katy Perry had an interesting reaction to a contestant revealing that she was a mother of 3 and much older than she looked. Katy stood up out of her chair and almost laid on the judge's table. The contestant, Sarah Beth, joked that if Katy laid on the table, she would die, and Katy responded with, "Honey, you've been laying on the table too much." At first, everyone laughed and this seemed all good and fun, but following her audition, Sarah announced that she would be going back to California to be with her family, claiming that she just wasn't cut out for show business. But she later took to Twitter to call Perry out for that joke, which was both mom shaming and something else shaming that I can't say on the internet. While this was a one-time incident, Katy has been known to be shady during her time as a judge, and her comments aren't always as helpful as I'm sure they're meant to be. Number 6. Vin Diesel versus Dwayne Johnson. Diesel and The Rock first crossed paths working together on the set of the 5th installment of the Fast and Furious franchise, Fast 5. Yeah, they're real clever with the names, these guys. Apparently their time on set was anything but romantic. According to crew members and casts on Fast and Furious sets, these two were constantly arguing on set over the littlest things. The Rock actually posted a comment aimed at Vin calling his newest co-star a candy bum. Alright, he didn't say bum bum, but I'm not allowed to say the real word, so I must speak like a toddler. While rumors were flying left and right, these guys never made a public statement on the matter, but it was Johnson that confirmed that he and Vin never actually filmed their scenes together in Fate of the Furious, which might be why the movie felt so stitched together and just bad. The feud was so bad that instead of continuing to include his character in the franchise, it was decided that The Rock would just get his own spin-off buddy team-up movie with Jason Statham's Deckard Shaw, which is the backfire that landed him on this list, because while fans loved Hobbs and Shaw, everyone else called it a dud, and the movie was ultimately a flop. Number 5. Taylor Swift versus Kanye West. That's right, these two are in a feud, and can you guess who suffered for it? I'll give you a hint. In 2009, Kanye interrupted Swift during MTV's Music Video Awards, as she was in the middle of an acceptance speech for Best Female Music Video. He called Beyonce's video the best of all time before awkwardly leaving the stage, but over the next few months, their rumored feud had become public, with Swift bashing Kanye's rude behavior during a time that was specifically set for her. Kanye later apologized and things seemed to be okay until 2015, when the rapper released a song called Famous, in which he said the line, and I'm paraphrasing of course because it's the internet, "I feel like me and Taylor may still make love. Why I made that beef famous." Swift was very vocal about her dislike for the song and claimed that it was written to undermine her success. A few months later, Swift also put Kanye's then wife Kim Kardashian on blast after the influencer had publicly approved of the song's lyrics. Joke's on them though, as they had just made enemies with a woman who fuels her soul with haters. Kanye eventually canceled himself because it turns out he was not a good guy at all, so happy ending to that one. Number 4. Nicki Minaj versus Miley Cyrus. MTV, the channel that just continues to deliver us such juicy reality moments. MTV is responsible for the inception of one of the greatest award shows of all time, the Video Music Awards. This ceremony celebrates the best and brightest of the music industry, but in 2015 things got extra juicy. Miley Cyrus, remembered fondly as Hannah Montana and remembered for riding a wrecking ball, was hosting the ceremony and doing a pretty solid job. Rapper Nicki Minaj had just taken the stage after winning the Best Hip Hop Video Award, but quickly shifted the audience's attention from herself to the host. Minaj was calling Miley out for supposedly talking trash about her in a recent interview. She asked, "Hey Miley, "What's good?" And Miley responded. She kept her cool and explained that everyone in the industry knows that news outlets and interviewers can manipulate footage to make comments sound worse than they actually are. She then reminded the audience about her difficult-to-watch performance at the ceremony in 2008 and threw an 80-foot picture of it up on the wall to emphasize her point. Minaj's mic was cut off and Miley introduced the list of artists being nominated for Best Future Artist before leaving the stage. Nicki loves to fight, but she received massive amounts of backlash from people attending the ceremony telling her to just leave the drama at home next time and let Miley do her thing. Number 3. Kanye West and Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson became the youngest cast member on Saturday Night Live when he was hired at the age of 20, and he was a massive part of the show until leaving it last season. In 2021, Kim Kardashian hosted an episode of the show and starred in a sketch with Pete parodying A Whole New World from the Disney movie Aladdin. The sketch was okay, but apparently sitting that close to each other all week really got him going. At the time, Kim was still involved with rapper Kanye West, who actually attended the live show, but he stormed out of the room following her scene with Pete. Apparently, Kanye had been present at rehearsals all week, and he remembers regularly seeing Pete and Kim smiling and laughing together while he was being ignored entirely like a toddler standing in the corner just like, "When's it my turn?" Kanye called out Pete online telling him to stay away from his woman. Well, Kim didn't like that kind of behavior at all, and not long after their feud was made public, Kim and Kanye began their divorce process, and simultaneously Pete announced that him and Kim were officially dating. Since then, Kanye has publicly bashed both his ex and Pete for their actions. You mad, little Kanye? That sucks. Number 2. Isaiah Washington versus Grey's Anatomy. Grey's Anatomy is a TV drama centered on the personal and professional lives of 5 surgical interns and their supervisors. The show garnered a massive fan base and was on air for over 420 episodes. For 62 of those episodes, a man named Isaiah Washington portrayed the character of Dr. Preston Burke. Following his departure from the series, Isaiah took to social media to call out the cast and crew of Grey's Anatomy for creating a hostile work environment. It was actually later revealed that apparently Isaiah himself was responsible for the so-called hostility. He had started multiple feuds with fellow cast members, including a physical altercation with Patrick Dempsey on set. He used homophobic slurs against T.R. Knight, and he threw shade at Katherine Heigl for throwing shade at him for using that slur. Needless to say, this is a very one-sided feud, as the Grey's producers just simply shut the door in this guy's face and told him to take a hike. Maybe next time you'll respect your workplace, Isaiah. Number 1. Cardi B versus Aja Davies. In 2017, rapper Cardi B and model Aja Davies appeared on an episode of VH1's Love and Hip Hop talk show. Things became heated very quickly when the topic of Aja's ex-boyfriend Swift came up. According to Davies, she was convinced that Cardi and Swift were intimate together while she was still dating him. Cardi responded to the accusation by throwing her stiletto at her face and then jumped up and began making her way towards the model, but was stopped by 2 large security guards. Good thing too, considering on the other side of the room, Aja had done the same thing and was also being held back. An all-out brawl almost took place, but the altercation resorted to the pair yelling at each other from across the room, with Cardi's main grievance being the judgment being placed upon her by Davies for being an exotic dancer before her time as a music artist. Like, where did that come from? Their careers suffered dips in sales as their fans weren't sure what to make of the feud. Whose side should they be on? Well, things are better now, but their careers have never been the same.